What if I told you that the reason you're always the one getting hurt isn't because you're weak, it isn't because you're unlucky, and it isn't because the world is against you. It's because you keep giving people permission to take your kindness for granted. You keep loving people who never plan to love you back the same way. You keep showing up, even when no one shows up for you. You keep forgiving, while they keep repeating the same mistakes. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that being kind meant accepting pain. But Stoicism teaches something completely different. It teaches that kindness without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Today, you're about to discover why kind people are often the ones who suffer the most, why people take advantage of those with the biggest hearts, and most importantly, how to stay kind without becoming someone's victim. Stay until the end, because the final Stoic lesson may completely change the way you see yourself, and the way you let others treat you. Before we begin, hit like, subscribe, and let's uncover the truth most people realize only after it's already too late. Here's the painful truth: the world doesn't reward kindness, it rewards clarity. People don't automatically respect you because you're good, they respect you when they know where your boundaries begin. And if you never draw those boundaries, don't be surprised when people keep crossing them. Think about your own life. How many times have you said yes when everything inside you wanted to say no? How many times have you answered a call, replied to a message, cancelled your own plans, just because you didn't want someone to think you were selfish? At first, it feels like love. Then it feels like responsibility. Eventually, it feels like a burden. That's when you realize you've been carrying relationships all by yourself. The Stoics warned us about this centuries ago. Epictetus believed that if your happiness depends on how other people treat you, then you've handed them control over your life. And that's exactly what happens to kind people. They become emotional prisoners, constantly waiting for appreciation that never comes. They keep hoping. Maybe this time they'll notice everything I've done. Maybe this time they'll finally value me. But people who benefit from your endless kindness rarely have a reason to change. Why would they, when you're already giving them everything they want? This is why so many genuinely good people end up feeling exhausted, not because kindness is wrong, but because they've confused kindness with self-sacrifice. They believe love means giving until there's nothing left. They believe loyalty means tolerating disrespect. They believe being a good person means making everyone happy, even if it destroys their own peace. That's not kindness, that's self-neglect. Real kindness never asks you to betray yourself. Real kindness starts with respecting your own heart first, because a person who cannot protect themselves eventually has nothing left to give anyone else. Look at the people who constantly take advantage of others. Do they usually target confident people with strong boundaries? Almost never. They look for the person who struggles to say no. The person who apologizes for everything. The person who gives, even when they're completely empty inside. Not because those people are weak, but because they know kindness can be manipulated when it isn't protected by self-respect. Marcus Aurelius never said you should stop being kind. In fact, he believed kindness was one of the greatest strengths a human being could possess. But he also understood that strength without wisdom becomes vulnerability. Imagine carrying a wallet full of cash, and leaving it on the street every single day. If someone steals it, would you blame kindness? Of course not. You'd realize you failed to protect something valuable. Your heart works the same way. Your kindness is valuable, but if you leave it unprotected, someone will eventually misuse it. That's why Stoicism teaches balance. Be compassionate, but don't be naive. Help people, but don't become responsible for fixing everyone. Love deeply, but never love so blindly that you lose yourself. Because the moment you sacrifice your peace just to keep someone else comfortable, you've crossed the line between kindness and self-destruction. And here's something most people never realize: the people who truly care about you won't become angry when you set healthy boundaries. They'll respect them. The only people who complain about your boundaries are usually the ones who benefited from you having none. Let that sink in for a moment. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, your energy, your loyalty, or your heart. Those things should be earned, not expected. Once you understand this, your entire life begins to change. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. You stop chasing people who only call when they need something. You stop confusing attention with love. And for the first time, you begin choosing yourself, without feeling selfish. So, how do you stop being the person who always gets hurt, without becoming cold, bitter, or heartless? The answer isn't to stop being kind. The answer is to become wise. Start by understanding that every yes you give someone else is also a no to something in your own life. Before helping someone, ask yourself, am I giving from strength, or am I giving because I'm afraid they'll leave if I don't? Those are two completely different things. If your kindness is driven by fear, it isn't kindness anymore, it's survival. And survival is not how you're meant to live. Learn to pause before automatically saying yes. Learn to stop explaining every boundary you set. You don't need a long speech to justify protecting your peace. No is a complete sentence. I can't is a complete sentence. People who truly respect you won't need endless explanations, and people who demand them usually never respected your boundaries in the first place. Another Stoic principle is this: never expect from others what you choose to give freely. If you help someone, do it because it matches your values, not because you're secretly hoping they'll repay you. Expectations create silent contracts that other people never agreed to sign. Then when they fail to meet those expectations, your heart breaks. Give because it is your choice, not because it is your need. The moment you separate kindness from expectation, you become emotionally free. And never forget this: your life has value beyond what you can do for other people. You are not here only to solve everyone's problems. You are not here to carry everyone's emotional weight. You are not here to prove your worth by sacrificing yourself. Your worth existed long before anyone approved of you, and it will remain long after people misunderstand you. That's what the Stoics wanted us to remember. Your character is your responsibility, other people's opinions are not. One day, someone will call you different. They may say you've changed, that you're harder to reach, that you're no longer the same person. Smile, because they're right. You're no longer the version of yourself who accepted disrespect just to avoid disappointing people. You're no longer the person who confused endless giving with genuine love. You've learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. The strongest people aren't the ones who stop caring, they're the ones who finally learn where to place their care. They still love, they still help, they still forgive, but they no longer abandon themselves in the process. That's real strength. That's real kindness. And that's the Stoic way. So remember this every single day: be kind, but never at the cost of your self-respect. Be generous, but never let generosity become permission for others to use you. And above all, never forget that the person who deserves your kindness the most is the one you see in the mirror every morning. The day you learn to protect that person is the day your entire life begins to change forever. If this video spoke to you, comment "I choose myself" below, because I want to know who's finally ready to stop being used and start valuing themselves. If this Stoic lesson changed the way you see kindness, hit the like button and subscribe, because this channel isn't here to tell you what you want to hear, it's here to teach you what you need to hear. And remember, being kind is a strength, but only when it's protected by self-respect. Never let anyone convince you that your good heart is meant to be taken for granted. Now click the next video on your screen, because the strongest version of you is only one lesson away.